When I ask women what stops them from taking care of themselves spiritually, emotionally, and physically, for example, what stops them from taking care of their health, this is the most common answer I hear. I don't have enough time. And the second most answer is something that I'm going to talk about in this podcast episode because I think it affects most women that we would come across. And if you like what I have to say, make sure that you sign up for the VIP waitlist for my upcoming brand new course on emotional self care for women. It's called Boost Your Emotional Health, Build Your Radical Self Care Practice. And there is a free special VIP bonus if you sign up right now for the waitlist. And it's all about time management. It's called You Have More Time Than You Think, right? And that's what I'll be tying into this podcast episode. And it's available at aninditaroonta.com/VIP waitlist. That's aninditaroonta.com/VIP waitlist. So let's start with today's episode. You see, I have done multiple surveys, right? I love surveys. It's a good way of getting feedback from my clients. I'm a health coach after all, and I need to know that the products, the offers that I'm giving out, whether it's my health coaching practice, whether it's my podcast episodes, whether it's the blogs that I write and I do all of these, they are resonating with my audience, right? My audience is women like you who are very self-aware in terms of their health. They want to take care of themselves emotionally, physically. They want to, deepen their self-care practice. And they may also be dealing with certain chronic health issues like autoimmune conditions, which I help women with in my private coaching practice. But coming back to the surveys that I have been doing on a regular basis, what I have noticed when I ask questions like, why haven't you been taking care of yourself? What has stopped you from taking care of yourself? Or what has stopped you from practicing consistent self-care? Is I don't have enough time, right? That's the first thing. And in fact, this is because it's so common, I decided to make this, as a part of my free bonus mini course, which is called You Have More Time Than You Think, which you will receive once the course launches if you sign up for my new course on emotional self-care, right? And it's all available at aninditaroonta.com/VIP waitlist. But the second most important common reason that I find, that answer that I get is that I am too lazy or I don't know why, but I keep procrastinating, right? And this procrastination is something that I'm going to be sort of touching upon today. As I said, time management is also key here, but today I'm talking about the second part because I think it is a very, very important topic that has to be, discussed, right? And while one of the reasons that we may feel lazy or we may be procrastinating, about doing something that needs to get done anyway, right? And it's typically some work. One of the main reasons can be exhaustion. As women, we juggle multiple responsibilities, whether it's work, whether it's at home, our children, and I I can completely relate to that because, this is what I go through on a regular basis. And it's only that I have been practicing self-care consistently for a while now, so I'm able to get back on track. But believe me, it's hard. And in fact, recently, my daughter was a bit unwell, and again, for a week or 10 days, my own self-care went for a toss. But now, again, once things have calmed down, I make sure that I get back on track. Otherwise, it's very difficult to take care of others if you're not able to take care of ourselves. So this is something that, so procrastinating is something that I understand very well. And as I mentioned, that feeling exhausted can be a big part of it. And then, we need to, then in that case, take out time to, maximize our sleep, get proper nutrition, hydration, so all those parts of it. But today, the aspect that I'm focusing on is actually another reason why we often procrastinate or why we say that I feel too lazy, right? And This is actually to do with our emotions. It might come as a surprise to you, and it definitely surprised me when I was researching on this topic, when I actually came to know about this. I was actually surprised to hear that emotional dysregulation might be at the underneath all these issues with procrastinating, right? I mean, I never saw that coming. You see, when you are trying out something new, or moving towards the goal that you have set for yourself, or simply doing something that needs to be done, right? Whatever it is, a lot of times you have to move beyond your comfort zone, because it might be something that you've never done before. It might be something that you're not sure what the results are going to be, right? It is something completely new, maybe a new skill set that you've had to develop. Whatever it is that is, that moves you beyond your comfort zone, we tend to put it off. And because while we know that it would lead us to a place where we will probably move towards our dreams, move towards the goals that we set for ourselves, it is still scary, right? And as I said, I can completely relate to this, because even when I decided to start, like for example, when I was launching my podcast episodes, like the first few times when I was recording my podcast episodes, I used to procrastinate, right? I had written down the script. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but it's just that, switching on that microphone and getting used to talking to that mic with nobody watching me. I don't know which one is scary, talking while somebody is watching, or that nobody is watching at that time. Whatever it is, it's quite uncomfortable, right? And I could see that I was procrastinating. I was trying to finish some other things. So I know what it feels like. And now, in fact, I found myself procrastinating even recording this podcast episode, because now I have moved to a new format. It's new for me because I'm using video as well this time, right? And again, I could figure out that I was procrastinating by trying to do other things because I was not feeling very comfortable. But when we feel this kind of discomfort, if we are not aware that we are feeling uncomfortable, if we are not aware that it is because of these kind of feelings, that we are putting something off, we can actually start feeling more anxious. We can start feeling scared or feeling fearful and overwhelmed, right? If you're not able to take care of this at the initial level, it can actually build up over time, right? And it happens to all of us. We all procrastinate from time to time. It's just that as you will learn why you're procrastinating, as you become aware of what I'm telling you today, you become better and better at dealing at it. So coming back to when I started recording my podcast episodes, every time that I could feel that I was getting uncomfortable, I used to sit with myself, right? I used to allow myself to be uncomfortable, to let those feelings pass through me. And in fact, today I'll be sharing with you 3 ways that you can regulate our emotions while when you are dealing with procrastination, right? And this is something that research shows that is extremely effective. Otherwise, procrastination would, if procrastination had simply been a time management problem, then the number of productivity apps that are available today would have taken care of our procrastination, right? It would have just taken that away. But that's not what's happening, right? And that's not what my surveys are showing. That's not what other people are saying. So clearly there is some mismatch over here. So it's not about, as I said, it's to some extent to do with time management. But again, as you will find in the mini course that I was talking about, time management is actually about managing yourself, right? So again, we come back to ourselves. So again, so research shows that what we tend to call laziness and procrastination is actually an emotional problem rather than a time management problem, right? And by learning how to deal with our emotions, we are able to deal with the procrastination. And so now, bringing it back to this, what does this mean for you, right? It means that any time that you feel lazy or you put off things for tomorrow, something that you can do today, it's an unconscious or a conscious decision. But either way, it's a decision that you're making, right? Whether you realize it or not. And like most decisions, there are emotions involved. So the better that you become at regulating your emotions, the better that you become, the more familiar that you become with your emotions as to how you're feeling at that moment, you will be able to actually do something about it, right? Otherwise, if as because we've never been taught to regulate our emotions, right? I mean, typically most of us have never been taught this in school or even later. It's only and I can speak for myself for sure, right? It's only in the past several years that I became a certified health coach. I dealt with a major crisis in my in my family, and I started this inner work, right? This personal development, this inner work. And as I got to know myself better, I had to also become familiar with my emotion. That was part of my inner journey, right? It doesn't, these both go hand in hand. And what happened as accidentally, I would say, because it was never intentional, believe me. I mean, I never set out thinking that I would become better at regulating emotion. It just happened as a as kind of a byproduct, right? But that's what happened. So as I became more familiar with myself, as I became more familiar with my emotions, I learned tools of self-regulation, which included emotional regulation, right? And this is exactly what you need to sort of also look out for. And in fact, the course that I have coming up, I'm going to be getting into the specifics of how you can do it, right? But more on that later. So rather than depending on your feelings and let your feelings dictate what you should or should not be doing, if you have a plan in place, then you can actually better deal and overcome your procrastination, right? Or laziness, as you call it. But before I share with you those three ways, there is one aspect I think that you need to be aware of, right? One very important part of our emotional psyche that all of us have, which is your inner critic. When we feel like putting off certain things, and we often say that we are simply lazy, or which is, in other words, we don't feel like doing it right now. Sometimes we tend to push through, right? Because we feel guilty that we are not doing it. We basically just push through, push ourselves, even when we don't feel like it. And more often than not, it doesn't really yield very good results, or we don't feel very good about it. And the words that we use to talk to ourselves and to push through these issues are not very kind, right? In fact, sometimes they are downright unkind. This is our inner critic talking, because for most of us, unfortunately, we've been taught that by being kind to ourselves, we don't do ourselves much service, and it's only by being pushing ourselves, by criticizing, that we can get things done, right? I'm not going to get into why we have that, but these are the set of beliefs that we develop right from childhood to adulthood, and I've really had to work a lot to get past that, because that's not true. Think of a friend who is dealing with certain issues, or a friend who is procrastinating or struggling with something. If that friend of yours, if it were a true friend of yours, and if you were a true friend to that person, would you put that friend down? Would you be unkind to that friend when he or she was already feeling so low and so bad about herself? No, you would be encouraging that friend, right? You would be saying things like, it's okay, do the best that you can, or take a break and come back to it later, right? You would not be criticizing and judging that friend. But when it comes to ourselves, that is exactly what we do. So rather than pushing ourselves to go through these phases when we are feeling lazy, or we're just simply feeling tired, or not, don't feel like doing much, it really helps to show kindness, to be more compassionate with ourselves. And this compassionate approach is much more effective than criticizing and judging. So, given this background, I'm going to share with you three ways that you can overcome procrastination. I think these I find are three very foundational things that you can do. The many other strategies, I'm not going to cover everything here, but I think these are three places that you can start today. The first thing is to become aware of this inner critic, the same inner critic that I talked about. Just becoming aware anytime that you are you don't feel like doing something, you know you're putting something off, just pause for a minute and just see how what words are you using to talk to yourself? Like, what are you saying to yourself? Are you criticizing? Are you being unkind? Are you judging? So just notice that. That's the first step. And then the second would be that instead of putting yourself down, see if you can treat yourself like a friend who is going through a similar situation. So that's the first thing, right? Becoming aware of your inner critic. The second way would be to accept your emotions, right? Ignoring or avoiding how you're feeling at that point in time, which is why you may be procrastinating or putting off something, is another very, very important, aspect of overcoming procrastination, right? See, if you can learn to pay attention, right? What is it that you're feeling, and see if you can even name that emotion. Right? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling disappointed? What is it that is keeping you stuck, right? And you may even want to do some breath work. You may want to take a break. You may want to do some journaling, whatever appeals to you. But just, being able to sit with your emotions and accept is a big part, right? And the third one, so the first one is to become aware of inner critic. The second is accepting your emotions. So is becoming aware of them. And the third one is giving up on perfectionism, right? Which actually means practicing self-forgiveness. You see, perfectionism and trying to get it right the first time around is one of the main reasons why we remain stuck, right? So, giving up on that, and I'm not going to get into a whole lot of details here again. I will be discussing that and taking you through how you can work on that in my course. But right now, what I would sort of like you to leave with is that just become aware of the fact that perfectionism is actually about being scared of making a mistake. It's being scared about caring more about what others think than what you think about yourself or your creation, right? It's being scared of rejection. It's being scared of somebody else finding some error, which might be a typo, right? It's a vicious cycle. So what happens as a result of that is that you're not able to move forward, right? And it's actually quite difficult to, in that case, to overcome procrastination. And though, luckily for me, I have never been much of a perfectionist. I have high standards. That doesn't mean that I don't have high standards. I know what I want my work to look like, I want my blogs to look like. I know what quality I want, when I'm doing some work. So I'm very clear on all those. It's just that I know that they don't have to be perfect in a certain sense, because I don't think the work that we do, or even as human beings, we can ever be perfect, right? What is perfect for me might not be perfect for you. So that unattainable ideal is actually very maybe impossible to achieve, really. So I don't even bother with that. What I am clear about is what goals I set up for myself and what I am okay with. And I truly believe that doing something imperfectly is better than doing nothing perfectly, right? In other words, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction, right? So delaying it is a form of procrastination, because if we are scared of how it will look, how it will come out, and it needs to be perfect, then of course we will delay it, right? Because that is what procrastination is also about. And we also forget, like in many cases, when we are doing something for the first time, it may not be, and it may not be good the first time around. And that's absolutely okay. It's like saying that you are going to learn playing a new instrument, maybe like a piano, and you expect that the first time you play it, you can play, a full song. Right? That's not going to happen. You have to keep up. You have to learn the playing the instrument. You have to learn the notes. You have to, learn the scales. Then you can start learning a song. Then you have to practice it and practice it. So basically, it's not going to be perfect. Let me put it this way. Should that stop you from learning something new, doing something new? Of course not. But what can help you to deal with this is practicing self forgiveness. So, even when you procrastinate, even when you put up something that you may not be completely happy about, you can forgive yourself, right? You can try harder the next time. You can keep practicing more. And in any case, you can forgive yourself for delaying it, for delaying putting it out there. So these are the three things, three ways that I wanted to share with you that can really help in overcoming procrastination. The first was becoming aware of your inner critic. The second was becoming aware of accepting your emotions and becoming aware of them. And the third is letting go of perfectionism. Right? There are many other strategies, etc. But I'm not going to get into that. But I think these are some of the most foundational aspects of or ways that you can actually overcome procrastination, or what you call sheer laziness, right? And I hope that now you can see why you might be remaining stuck, and it has nothing to do with how it, I mean, it has something to do with the level of difficulty of the task, etc. But a lot of it has to do with the emotional involvement with the task that you have, right? So while you might be procrastinating on certain tasks, you may not be procrastinating on certain other things. So we all procrastinate from time to time. It's not about stopping procrastination once and for all altogether. That is not going to happen. But it's just about becoming more aware as to why we tend to procrastinate, right? So I hope that by listening to this or watching this, you are now more aware of what procrastination is all about. That you are not too lazy to do something. You're not too lazy to take out time for self-care. You are not too lazy to complete a certain task. You are not too lazy to reach a certain goal. I want you to take that word out of your dictionary, right? I want you to. The only time I wanted to use the word lazy is maybe for a lazy Sunday, right? Which is more intentional. That I want to relax and enjoy a lazy Sunday, right? That's a beautiful thing to do. That's a beautiful part of self care. But as far as feeling, like feeling lazy on a holiday, so that's absolutely okay. But I don't want you to live with with this belief that you're just too lazy to do something, right? You're not. All you need to do is go underneath and connect with your emotions, right? Find out what's happening over there. And I have given you three amazing ways, three very effective ways to overcome your procrastination.
Join the VIP waitlist today for my course on emotional self-care for women called Boost Your Emotional Health, Build Your Radical Self-Care Practice. And as a special VIP bonus, you get a free mini course. You have more time than you think. It's going to help you make scheduling easy for you, create more time in your busy life. It has been designed for busy women like you. So make sure that you sign up for the VIP waitlist today and get the course as well as this mini course absolutely free once the course launches.